Hey everybody, welcome to Dad, Daughters, and Drinks, where you'll always get at least two of those three. Today you've got me, the Margarita Kid, and I am drinking, it's just bourbon. It's a bourbon kind of day. It's a bourbon called The Musician, so it's appropriate, by Still Austin Distillery. I'm assuming that's in Austin, I'm not actually sure. And today I'm going to be reacting to Angelina Jordan singing I Put a Spell on You. This is actually one of the original requests that I got. It's been kind of on the back burner while I went down some rabbit holes, and I decided I'm going to start spending a little bit of time reacting to some of these kind of one-off requests that I'm getting. And so that's why I picked this one first, because it was, I think, one of the original requests. Now, if I understand it correctly, she's 10 years old singing this song. And we've seen in the past that there's some kids that can sing pretty well. If you ever watched like America's Got Talent or those things. So it's not unheard of for kids to sing very well, but it's kind of rare, and this is the kind of a song that you've got to have a pretty stellar voice in order to sing it the way it's kind of been known lately. So it was originally, I had to look this up a little bit. I originally knew the song from CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and then later from Nina Simone. I started to like her music several years ago. It's just fantastic stuff. And so she did a version of this, and then I discovered it was originally Screaming Jay Hawkins. And then I think more recently Annie Lennox did a cover of this. So there's a lot of them floating around, and they're all pretty different, but the melody is a pretty solid one to work with. So I'm kind of interested to see how a young girl would do with this kind of a strong bluesy song, if they even do it in that way, right? It could be done completely differently, but I'm going to go ahead and take a look. And I'm not somebody who's a vocal coach. I'm more of the music kind of a person. Like, I play guitar, and I tend to think of things in terms of chord structures and all that good stuff. So I'm not going to be one of those vocal coach reacts type things. I'm just going to listen to it and probably be wowed, I have to admit. Otherwise, people wouldn't have asked for the reaction, and there wouldn't be 11+ million views on the video. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just see what we got here. And I did see that she was 10 years old, but this was several years ago, so I think she's older now. I know she's still singing. When I pulled this video up, I think it actually said she's performing in Vegas this month. I don't know how long she's been playing there, but if you're playing in Vegas, then you're probably pretty good.
Because you're mine. Stop the things you do.
I'm going to listen to this again a little bit, but I'm going to close my eyes, because when I'm watching her, I'm thinking she sounds like a kid singing very well, but it still sounds like a kid. But I'm wondering if I were just listening to this on the radio, if I would pick that up. So I'm just going to give that a shot.
Stop the things you do. I ain't lying.
So I think I would know that was a kid based on what she's just doing, when she's singing a little more normally, but all of a sudden she's throwing some growl on, which you don't hear kids do very often. And then she did some kind of a high-pitched, I won't call it a screech because it was more musical than that, but it's something. I want to hear that again. I just want to take a second to shout out the studio musicians. I think a lot of people may not know this, but the guys that play in these kind of situations are typically the best of the best. They're not famous pretty much because they didn't want to tour. They didn't want to have that kind of a life, but they can play like nobody's business. Occasionally, you may have a crossover, like Jimmy Page from Zeppelin was originally a studio musician who ended up obviously joining Led Zeppelin and becoming extremely famous. But it's guys of that kind of quality that you have that are doing studio musician stuff. Or if you've seen the Blues Brothers, I think Matt Guitar Murphy was a studio musician. I mean, most of those guys were actually studio musicians. But I think Matt Guitar Murphy was one who they actually compared Jimmy Page to when he was still a studio musician. So there's a lot of good players. So I just want to shout these guys out because they don't get a lot of recognition or credit. And a lot of people might think they're sitting, playing background for other people because they may not be good enough to be famous, but that's definitely not the case for these guys.
Stop the things you do. Hey, what's up? I ain't lying. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you anyhow. I don't care if you don't want me. I'm yours right now. I put a spell on you because you're mine I don't care if you don't want me. I'm yours right
So I'm assuming this is her here now. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go back just a little bit for a second. In that ending part, she's, like I said, I'm not a singer analyst type of person, but I think she had a very appropriate amount of vibrato. Sometimes people go a little crazy with the vibrato stuff. They don't have any ear. That's like the super wavery thing. And this was a nice vibrato, and it went along with what I assume for a 10-year-old was some pretty stellar breath control. I just want to hear how she did this ending part again.
I don't care if you don't want me. I'm yours right
Man, it's hard to believe you get a kid that age singing like that. I know I said in the beginning you've seen it before, but every time you see it, it just seems like such a shock a little bit. I mean, part of it, one of the things I think about when I watch something like that is how did she get noticed at 10 years old? Like, was she in a singing competition, or does she have family connections with, musicians that, producers or something, people that work in a studio that heard her sing, and immediately just went, hey, we need to make something happen here. Because that's the kind of a voice, like I said, you could tell it was a kid singing, but it was still spectacular. And what goes through my mind is, if she sticks with it, she's going to be unbelievable when she's older, right? Hopefully, when you start off as a child star type of thing, right? There's numerous instances of that not going so well later in life because of the type of people that you're around, the pressures, the availability to certain things that kids shouldn't have availability to, and next thing you know, you've got Amy Winehouse or other things going on, which is very, very unfortunate. And so hopefully that hasn't happened with her. In other cases you see like The Warning from Mexico, three girls, sisters that seem, started when they were very, very young, I think like 8, 10, and 12 or something, with a rock band. And, that's over a decade ago, and from what I can tell, they're the most sweet, well-adjusted people that you could ever meet. So it can work, which I think they've got a lot of family support and things like that. So hopefully that's the route she's taken. But I don't know. This is really the first time I've heard her sing. It was pretty dynamite. I'm kind of interested, to see if she sang the song again when she's older, just to see what somebody with 10 years or however old she is of developed voice could sing this differently. And I don't know if it would necessarily be better, but yeah, I assume it at least would be a little bit different. Good stuff though. And I also wonder when I hear these kind of things, for 10 years old, how much of what she was doing, the choices that she made in terms of the melody, when to throw in certain growls, or just things that were like, not part of the normal song or anybody else's versions, are things that like she came up with, or was it somebody saying, hey, do a growl here or whatever? I can't even imagine, like, at 10 years old, if that's a skill that you could have, like, how do I want to modify the song to make it my own, right? I don't know if I could tie my shoes at 10 years old and nevertheless come up with, cool melodic, changes. So I don't know. I assume somebody out there knows a lot more about her story than I do. So go ahead and let me know if there's anything cool about her that I need to know from back then or now or whatever. Or if there's any other songs of hers that I should take a look at. Because this was pretty cool. It's been a while since I've just watched a good old-fashioned kind of bluesy singing recording. So I really enjoyed that. And I think that's it for me. I appreciate everybody's time. I always appreciate anybody's comments. I always read through all of them. And any other recommendations, let me know. And other than that, I hope everybody has a good day. Thanks.